Going on today.
Hey, hey, Scott. Thank you, buddy. Hello, Jamie.
Andy, what's going on? Hey there, Scott. Hello, everybody.
All right. It's springtime. Yeah. Let's uh, let's get started. Before I do want to thank everybody to coming to the my trading studio today, and I'm Andy, and this is Jamie on the other end. And hopefully, you guys will learn something today. I always plan, we both do, to bringing you some content that will help you with your trading and making you more profitable. And that is the job. All right. And before we do, let's go over the disclaimer real quick. All right. We are a content publisher. This is only, okay? We're not trying to sell you anything as far as equities go. No stocks, no instruments whatsoever, okay? We are here to provide you with an educational services. If you are seeking advice on any type of financial instrument, you want to seek out a registered broker, a RIA, a stockbroker, whoever that may be. All right, so let's talk about our 5-star support, education, and training here, guys. Readers coming to us all the time when they first open it up. It can be or look a little overwhelming, and it's our job in here, myself, Jamie, well, it's everybody's job here. We all wear different hats here. One of those is to make sure you are supported and educated and trained on this software. And how do we do that? Well, we start out in the trader's room, okay? Barry Einerson does a great job in there as a moderator. He's also a very good trader. The trader's room is free for everyone. You do not have to have a Trade Idea subscription. And Barry is really good as far as trading, but he's also a very good instructor and educator. So what he really enjoys after the first hour and a half, I say 2 hours, is helping others. So don't be afraid to ask questions in there. He can help you out with the software. It's a beautiful format because he can show you, he can demonstrate whatever you're asking right there using the desktop sharing software, and talk to you verbally as he demonstrates it. So that is a great resource, guys, to get education. And then, of course, we have these webinars every day, Monday through Thursday, in the same time slot as 5 p.m. And we encourage interaction, okay? We want you to ask questions. We will be prepared to bring forth some content for the day, but we also want to encourage you to ask any questions that you may have, and we will get to them. It may, if I'm in the middle of a subject, yeah, it may be a little bit, but we'll get around to your questions. Don't worry about that. All right, and something new we started a few weeks ago called the support webinar. Look down here at the bottom of the slide. You're going to see Monday through Friday every day at 12 Eastern. Okay, this is a live stream. We'll have a slide here coming up that will show you. I think I may have it in the early slides too here. Let me see real quick. Well, maybe not. It's later on. But anyway, every day at 12, okay, we have a live stream. And as to be a support webinar. So come in there. I mean, so many people, I think they get this software and they try to do a lot on their own, which is great. We want you to do that, but also take advantage of these resources that we have for you to ask questions. And one of those is the support webinar every day, Monday through Friday at 12 Eastern time. All right, the paper trader is Wells. People are using it. We're seeing the trades go off in our back office. It's incredible the amount of growth we're seeing in the paper trader as far as the number of executions. And if you haven't heard about it, this is a way for you to paper trade. Okay, we call it simulated trading on our platform. You do not need a broker connection. You do not need to fund an account. Okay, you come and with only the price of a subscription, you're able to utilize our paper trader. And boy, I wish I had this tool when I started because, back then I had to go to a trading floor, fund an account, get ready to trade, and then I'd have access and could do a little paper trading. But this way, man, you just do it right on our platform, and it is great. And people are loving it. All right. The agenda for today. All right, we're going to talk about, well, I should have taken this off, this breakout. I'm sorry, I didn't take this off from last week, but we can talk more about that. Probably will when I go into the market recap here. And then Holly recap. Holly was kind of quiet today, okay, and there's probably a reason for that. When you get into this volatility and you have these huge gap ups and gap downs, there's a reason why Holly can be more quiet on days like today. Jamie will probably expound on that a little bit. And then the topic for today is I was working. A lot of time I get these ideas when people come in with lots of questions. I've had a couple lately of people wanting to build a momentum scanner. So we're going to talk about building a momentum scanner, quality over quantity, using position and range filters, cranking up the volume filters. I think this is going to be a great little segment for those who like to trade momentum. I think I'm going to add a lot of ideas where you can make it to where you're getting better quality alerts coming through. Yes, Dave, the paper trader is offered in both subscriptions. Okay, so yes, you can get the standard and you have access, and you'll also have access to the ability to point and click using the charts. So that's a neat little feature once you get into it. All right, let's see real quick. Stan, I got another question coming in. That's fine. I heard that Barry's room will be migrating to YouTube for everybody. All right, Stan. Yeah, you know what? I think we did get your email that you sent in, and trust me, we read every email that comes in, and everything will be taken into consideration. And I did pass that along to Barry as well. So trust me, Stan. Yeah, we did. You voiced your opinion, and we heard it. All right. So let's back this out, and let's talk about the overall market recap. See where we are at now. Before we do, let me get a drink of water real quick. Woo, look at that nastiness. All right, so this is what I've talked about this over and over in the past when we've had conditions like this. You did have a market that was over the last several years. Expansion, just imagine a rubber band being stretched and stretched and stretched, and when you do finally pull back, it can be vicious. Some may argue, well, if it wasn't for this presidential election marketplace, but the fact of the matter is, when you do get this kind of action, it's like that stretching rubber band, and once it's stretched and it reverberates the other way, you'll get this crescendo of back and forth action, okay, like we're seeing right now. So do not be surprised by it. As a matter of fact, I was looking earlier, let's just kind of scroll back in time without zooming out so we can find that level of nastiness we saw it last time. This is a great example. Going back to last August. All right, well, here we go. Look at this drop we had right here, kind of in the same time frame, about 4 or 5 days. Bounced back up. What did we run into? Our fast line there, and look how we came off. It's kind of what we're seeing now. If you look at the last 2 days, bounce back up, back down again. So this action is not uncommon. Okay, I'm going to go back again, and there you have a little more orchestrated, not a whole bunch of bounces, but 1, 2. This is a little bit more of an orchestrated 1 month pullback without the big precipitous fall over a very short time period. And then, of course, we go back to the end of 2018. Things got kind of nasty as well. But here you go, a lot of back and forth, nastiness. So let's go to where we are now and kind of look and say to ourselves, ask ourselves what may happen here. Well, same kind of picture as I showed you going back to last August. We had about 4 or 5 days really ugly down days, and now we bounced back up. What happened? We ran right into that fast line, rejected the action with a gap down today, and here we sit right below the 200. Now, when you get in this kind of volatility, some of these major averages, they will be violated a lot. I think because what you have now is called it's downward momentum, just like you would have stocks that are trading in upward momentum. So when you do have this momentum, you have the momentum line which rolled over and is going lower, and it's just these lines will have a bigger impact and then more than like your 200 moving average. And that's why you're seeing a lot of back and forth around this 200. It's not really holding like it should. This is the guiding hand now, the momentum line, because we are in downward momentum. So, time will tell. We could try, this 10 period moving average again. This could force the hand lower, and we could go back over here, test the lows that we saw back right over here on this day. There's really no major resistance as far, even if you go back, I'm not seeing a lot of major resistance, in the marketplace. Of course, this was the old breakout high that we saw. This is what I talked about last week when we finally retraced that. And look here where we closed today, right at this level, our old high that we finally broke through. So we can keep an eye on this to see if it can hold tomorrow. It did kind of hold today, but we'll have to see what happens. If we do come down here and test this low, your guess is as good as mine. I think we could, I showed you last week the weekly. I'm not going to pull that up right now, but right now we're just kind of in the middle of some whipsaw, stretch rubber band type action where we're pretty much right at that breakout high. So right now the momentum is to the downside, and I think what you need to see probably is a close maybe back above this fast line. Maybe if we can go sideways a little bit, get back above it, then we may come up here, test these old levels going back over here. But right now, honestly, your guess is as good as mine. The trend is down over the last several days, but we all know that can change quickly. All right, I'll take a real quick look at the Qs, real quick look, I should say, at the Qs, and pretty much the same type of action. I'm not going to sit here and go over each technicals on all of them. The diamonds. And same thing, IWM, we all know that that's been the weakest link for some times, for a couple of years in the marketplace, and it still continues way below its 200-day moving average. Yeah, Chris says Q still positive on the year, so can't argue with that. And if we do go back to the first, well, pretty close here. Let's see, where was that? 12, 1, 2. So we're basically right here is where it closes. So maybe a little, maybe maybe the Q index is, and the ETF is probably a little bit below, but yeah, you're probably going off the index itself there, Chris. Okay, all right, Chris. You know what? It's close enough. I wouldn't argue either way right now,
enough.
but
flat at least.
Yeah, close enough. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, Jamie, do you have anything to add to the overall market recap?
No, man, it's just, what we've seen over the past 10 days is just, I mean, welcome to the correction,
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knew it was coming. They just didn't know exactly when. I mean, everybody didn't know it was coming, but you've always got the 50-50 mix where, we could keep going up unless a black swan event comes into play. And how many times have we kind of thrown that out there over the past, I don't know how many years, always talk about the black swan. Well, welcome to the black swan event. We're right in the middle of it.
Yes, and it could be a blacker swan.
Yes, it could be.
Yeah, time will tell. That's for sure. Hopefully, yeah, we won't have a major, black swan, but yeah, it's definitely, definitely causing some havoc, in the equities, equities market anyway. All right. Jamie, let's see. Or you can just go ahead and take it away and talk real briefly on Holly, if you like.
Yeah, brief is the key word here because, well,
Mm-hmm.
the AI only spit out, I guess for lack of a better term, easier for the AI, which is looking at statistical probability, to find a lot of good probability. There's only one example of making the spread or making some spread between conservative profit and moderate profit today, or what we could say taking more risk to simplify. And boy, only one, but what a doozy. What a beautiful setup this was. And it came in the form of this VIPS long here from Holly Neo. And I'll just stretch this out a little bit there so we can see all the 15-minute candles for today. So pretty early on the entry signal, 5 minutes into the open, and this 15-minute candle right here, got that buy signal at 1534. And then as we frequently see in some of these Holly plays, did it just start ripping? Nope. Ebbed and flowed how many times back and forth through that entry line over the course of, not including the entry bar here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I mean, almost all day, a good ways halfway through the session. Plenty of time to sit here and go, okay, signal came out back here, even had a chance to get it nowhere. It was not going like anywhere near the stop loss, just a nice consolidation area. So, you know, two different ways to play this. You took the initial signal because you liked maybe what was going on over here on the daily, you know. We've got statistical probability behind was pumping two on the relative scale. Not bad. So just being patient with Holly, whereas she was not patient. Profit saved it right here. Not even, I think, 30 minutes into the trade, maybe 16 minutes there until she got bored with it. But all we had to do was sit tight. And then we had the auxiliary pattern play out over here, where we had range break. And as far as range breaks go on the intraday, what a beautiful, you know, setup, right? So if you got in with Holly and sat, great. Even if you did not, you know, we've talked about this ad nauseum. Once you see that profit save kick into gear and you see this, you know, maybe you were looking at 5-minute candles until the first 30 minutes or hour are up. But even looking at this smaller time frame here, once this opening range is set up, it's interesting, okay? So even not participating in the initial signal, but kind of keeping an eye on this thing throughout the day and then waiting for this to occur. And of course, I'll just pop back over to that 15-minute time frame. I mean, this was an excellent place to either enter the position or add to the position where you get the majority of the move. Okay, so, you know, short and sweet, beautiful setup on the VIPS from Holly today. And let me just crush this up a little bit here. Yeah, we weren't at all-time highs, but we were popping above some, you know, some major resistance levels there. So that one had a lot of gas in the tank today. Good volume, 36 million shares turned over today. Other than that, you can see for yourself here, just 3 other mediocre losers throughout the day, and Holly all on the long side. So short and sweet for Holly today, Andy.
Yep, that's true, Jamie. Yeah, 4 trades. You know what? I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. I'd much rather see that than spitting out 30 trades and only being up, you know, marginally. But
Absolutely.
yep.
All
All right,
right,
you
let
want to
me
shoot it back?
kick it back over to you.
All right. So once again, I get a lot of my ideas on topics I'm going to talk about just by talking to customers. And one of them today, it's somebody, she may even be in here, I don't know, but new on our system and on our software, using it, and she was working on momentum trades, and I shared with her the extreme volume high-low pro, and obviously the also shared with her the extreme master blaster. I said these are the two that I like to use, you know, and they're very a lot of people have asked for them. They like it. They're pretty powerful. And she made a comment, you know, like, well, I'm seeing some things that didn't come through. And then she mentioned VIPS, and I showed her, I said, well, this came through, you know, bright and early in the morning through my window. And she said, yeah, but it didn't come through at this level right here. And I said, well, probably because this has a pretty big filter bid looking for volume. And you would have seen it earlier. It probably came through a couple of times. There it is again a couple of times. So it would be on your radar. Maybe you can mark it up, but what happened right here is when it come through, I went and looked and it wasn't doing the required volume. I think these filters are set for like, oh, I'm not going to open it up and look at it, but probably 500, maybe 700% on the 5-minute time frame. And I explained to her, I said, listen, all you have to do, if you want to see, things with doing less volume is just decrease the volume parameter and you're going to get a lot more trades coming through. She goes, oh, that's what I want. So I started thinking, I said, it's probably a great topic because there are a lot of people that still use our software for momentum strategies, and that's fine. I did it for 17 years. That's what I was looking for. So I understand. So what I want to talk about today is, quality versus quantity. Okay, because you can create basically an A window, an alert window showing you good new highs with stocks doing pretty good volume, 3 times normal volume, that you're going to have symbols coming through all day, and you will catch everything that come through here. The problem is well, it may not be a problem for some people. I guess it's subjective, but what you're also going to have is a lot of other symbols coming through at the same time. So what I'm going to do, Extreme Master Blaster is something I built probably 2-3 years ago, but I'm going to show you, and I've been a user of Trade Ideas ever since it started. I'm user number 40 in their system. I actually helped Dan and Phil with sending some ideas over to them to help them with some of the strategies, some of the filters and stuff. One of them, my very first alerts was called Master Blaster, in case you're wondering where that came from. And this dates back, probably to, well, let's just say 13 or 14 years ago, as soon as we started having alerts. And I created this. And I'm going to show you how simple it was for me back then, because we didn't have as many filters to use, all these position and range. We didn't have a lot of that. So things were pretty basic when we first started using it. And so I'm just going to open up this configuration. And this is what it looked like. I used a new high filtered. All this does right here is break down on the number of alerts coming through, because if you do have a very active window, and you're getting a new high every penny these stocks hit a new high, the thing's going to be moving pretty fast. So new high filtered, what it does is an algorithm that kind of helps break down the number of alerts that come through. It's based upon volatility, price movement, and also time of the movement. So in other words, if you get a huge move in a say a 15-second time frame where it prints 50 highs in a row, you may only get about 10 of those, or maybe 15. What it does, it just filters out the number of alerts you're getting, and it helps in a lot of respect, so you don't get you don't miss out some other symbols that may have come through in the middle of why it was printing all these highs. So I would recommend, if you're using a lot of momentum scans, use this new high filtered. And then basically that was it. I was looking for stocks over $2. Average daily volume had to be at least 250,000 shares a day, and the minimum volume had to be 500%. And it was pretty basic. And that was my high-low ticker. Now, like I said, by nature, you're going to catch a lot of great trades coming through here. But the problem is there's going to be a lot of noise, because you don't have anything to assure that the stock is kind of breaking out of a range. You don't have any filter in there to show the stock is up on the day. Okay, these could be stocks gapping down and catching a bid. As a matter of fact, you're going to see a lot in here. So there's a lot of people out there that just use a lot of basic filter alerts like this that are just looking for volume. And if it works for you, that's great. Me personally, I want to refine it. Okay, I want to come in and fine tune this thing so I'm getting better quality alerts. And let me just show you an example. Let's just kind of go through a few of these right here. MITK. Oh, don't start doing this to me. There we go. All right, here's a good chart, for example. Look at this chart. You know, first thing this morning, the volume was there. You can see it was doing the required volume. It was hitting a new high like it's supposed to. So everything was satisfying my filter set. Okay, but look what happened. Didn't go anywhere. And look at the daily chart. Okay, it's in. This is the daily chart over here. I should have pulled up my Epic Pen, but it's in what I call no man's land. It's not going anywhere. Let's see if we can find a few more. Let's go up a little bit, maybe catch some. Don't want to catch them all because you get a lot of head fakes early in the morning. But now, like I said, there's going to be some good ones in here just by the nature of you're going to catch all the ones you see in the quality alerts, but you're just going to have a lot of noise, you know, in between. And let me see. I think I have some. VIPs, there's VIPs. Obviously, that was a good one. Let's take a look at JKS coming out. Okay, there's a great example. Okay, once again, the volume was there. It was hitting a new high, but look at this daily chart. It's in no man's land. It's not breaking out of a 5-day high. It's not breaking out of a 10-day high. It's in the middle of no man's land. You gotta avoid stuff like this because there's too much resistance above. Some of these at times will work. I don't want to tell you this is never going to work because sometimes you can catch them early and they will have a nice run. But I will say this, more times than not, they're going to get rejected and slapped it back down when you have a daily chart that looks like that. Let me see if I can find a few more. Just click on a few of these. There's a good example, you know, once again. In no man, I could see where somebody can argue a case like this because this did have a big move and it was going sideways when it took out this yesterday's high. I could see where somebody want to give a shot on that one, but to be fair, JKS. Let me see if I got any more in here. Snap here. Let's take a look at Snap. Great example. Everything was working. You actually got a little bit of move out of this for a couple of couple of hours, but look at the daily over here. It's in no man's land. Now, let's face it, honestly, with the market like it is today, you're not going to have, there's not too many that actually did work today, but there's a few. You're going to find out that if you do use more filters, okay, and look to refine and fine tune it to where you can get better quality alerts, you're going to find out that some of them, you know, will definitely work. And not only that, you're not going to get a lot of noise like you're seeing in this one. Now, I think this one kind of had a run because I saw this one coming through some of the others at this time. Let's take a look at ADMA. Another great example. You know, the volume was there. You know, this is 30 minutes after the open, and the volume still doing 5 times normal 5-minute volume, but just never look at the daily chart. Just in no man's land. This is the kind of stuff you want to avoid. I think it's going to make your life easier if you're a momentum trader. Okay, so what I would recommend doing is finding stocks that are breaking out of a range, okay, that are up a certain percentage on the day, to show. Let's face it. What is momentum? Momentum is not just volume. Okay, momentum is volume plus price direction. Okay, so we want to find things that are doing volume and moving, whether you're going long or going short, moving in that same direction as the momentum. And the more volume you have, the more likelihood it will continue in that same direction. So let's find an example on one of my alerts that I do have. And let's take a look at Extreme Volume High-Low Pro, probably my favorite momentum alert at the configuration versus what we saw over here. Okay, so you can see already it has a lot more filters than what we saw in this basic momentum master blaster over here. And I'm going to point out to you some of the big ones. Okay, one of them is change from close. Okay, I'm not looking for stocks that are just barely up on the day, or definitely not looking for stocks that are down on the day. I want to see them up at least 1%. So I want to see stocks that are doing volume and moving higher. And I'd like to use a change from close about 1%. Now, the caveat to something like this is if you want to catch like news items in the day, you're not going to catch them until they're up at least 1%. But honestly, that's okay. Well, most of the time when there's news items, those things shoot so fast they're gonna get up 1% pretty quick, and you're gonna see them in your alerts. All right, I'm leaving the volume the same for the 5 minute. It's 500 over there. That's fine. That's plenty of volume. But I do have a 1 minute volume of 10 times normal volume. Now, this may be a high for some people. I wouldn't blame people that came in here and they wanted to crank this down lower, maybe to 700, 800. That's fine. I like 1,000. I like 1,000%, 10 times normal volume. And here's the key to keeping stocks out of no man's land. If you see a position in 10-day range, you could come over here and just use a 10-day high. That would work too. I like to use this position in 10-day range because a lot of times I can catch them before they break out of that 10-day high. So it just kind of gives you a little head start. What this means is it's basically of the last 10 days, the low end of the range is always 0, the high end is 100. So if I put a minimum of 95 in here, I know it's only 5% of the range from taking out that 10-day range. And not only that, I want it close to taking out this 20-day. That's why I have an 85% in here as well. So a lot of these, you're going to see them well above their 10, and that's okay. I love momentum when they're hitting all-time highs. That's great. There's no resistance. And then average daily volume's a little bit higher in this one. I'm looking for thicker stocks. So you can see here, the key ones are change from the close and then the position and range filters. And you're going to see I eliminated probably about 90% of these trades that are just like this ADMA that I want to avoid. I don't want to see them coming through and, messing with my good, my extreme master blaster or my extreme volume ticker. I want to see quality alerts coming through here. I will never judge anybody that wants to see everything. Some people are able to quickly click on alert and ascertain in a matter of seconds whether they would want to take the trade or not. That's fine. That's how I had to learn to do it. But it just makes it easier if I can filter out a lot of that noise. And if we do that, you're going to see there's only a handful of stocks that came through this today. And I'm not going to tell you that they all worked, but I'm going to tell you that the success percentage is much higher than what you saw in this basic one that I started with. And we did see this one, and you're gonna obviously you saw all these over here once again, but we also saw a lot of noise. And here's this VIPS coming through first thing in the morning. First thing you would have noticed is it had earnings before the bell this morning. You had a nice gap up close to a multi-month high. Nowhere near its lifetime high. If we scroll out, you're going to see gapped up to this gap right here, and kind of a ways away from its. I think it even probably traded higher at one time back when it first came out in the marketplace. But gapped up pretty much close to the multi-year high there, and just kind of went sideways. Holly was very on top of this and called it today. And when I see Holly call something and I get that double confirmation in my extreme alerts windows over here, it just gives me a better confidence in probably taking that trade. And then it just had a nice little move sideways like Jamie pointed out, and it just had a beautiful move higher and throughout the day. So think about this, watching this alert versus watching this over here in the early hours. See how easy it would be to miss his VIPs when you're watching all this stuff flying through here, guys? And there it is right there. Look, it's right in the middle of all this noise coming through. And this is what is beautiful about using these filters. And we have so many filters that you can use to trade ideas to help you filter out a lot of this noise. I'd rather see something like this to point me out to VIPs, and nothing else, maybe one other alert there too. A little bit later, OCUL, this worked for a little bit and actually, held on to the day. Nothing really didn't fall apart like a lot of these trades over here, so I'm not going to call that a bad one. It didn't follow through like VIPs, but look what you see coming through. The same ones over and over, okay? Now this is obviously still early in the morning. Okay, another great little trade hitting them. Now you would not have gotten this till way up here, but you can see the line right there. But still, look at the juice you had another 5, 6, 7 points on this thing, 8 points. So you see how refined this is, guys, where you're getting the quality alerts versus all that noise. It's JD. This is another one that had. Tell you what, you might want to keep an eye. These two stocks are both China, like internet retail plays, VIPs and JD. You might want to keep an eye. I mean, Baba is one you can see it was actually pretty flat today in a market that was really down. You know, if you might want to just put an alert like in Baba. It had earnings on February 13th, so the earnings are behind it, and it looks like it probably had earnings about right there. So, one to keep an eye on when I see other China retail plays going. Good question, Ted. Ted asked, what would you consider too many filters? Well, that's, once again, it's subjective. Now, as long as you're using filters and you are getting quality alerts. Now, there'll come a time as you try to use more and more filters where you're going to limit the amount of alerts coming through to where, you know, it's nothing. You're going to have, you don't want to try to find that perfect setup, because typically what you end up doing, Ted, is you end up creating this algorithm in the back to where you're just kind of curve fitting. In other words, if you're looking for just only 2 or 3 really great alerts to come through a day, you're probably just building it to kind of manufacture these alerts, and they're not going to stand the test of time. In other words, it's just kind of happenstance that those trades worked out. So you can use too many. I like this one. I mean, the reason I like this one is you're probably only going to get a handful a day, unless the market is just really ripping higher. And now you can get a lot on the downside too that you can, you know, benefit from. Like this VA. Look at this one early this morning. You know what a short that was. Beautiful. You can see it's breaking a range. You got the signal right there when it took out this low. And look at all the you know, juice it had below that. You can see it right here on the intraday. So this could work on both sides, but you can see here it's a lot of the same tickers over and over. I don't think I use a filtered one on this one because, or maybe I do. Let me see real quick. Nope, I just use a regular high one on this one. You could use a filtered one on here, but I have these filters set so tight and looking for certain ranges and incredible volume that I don't get overloaded on this one like I would. Why is that? It's kind of weird. Oh, I'm sorry, got distracted there. So getting back, you're going to see here, see this AMH that came through later in the day. Now that looks like a news item that just popped big volume. You will see that. You will catch it when you have those, but just beware anytime you see that. You don't want to be the one chasing this wick way up high. I'm always careful not to just run and jump in, you know, news alerts. There's I know, but and now let's take a look at the Extreme Master Blaster. This is pretty much, I'm going to answer this question. I really like the setup that you have. Would you be willing to share? I will. Well, first of all, Trey, I'll let you know that this Extreme Volume High-Low Pro, you can find it in Channel 4. Okay, so you can find that one, and I will go ahead and share this this Master Blaster with you. And it's the same kind of setup. If I go in here and I look for stocks over $10, we go to configure. It'll be a few little tweaks. I think on this one, since I was doing multiple strategies, I just used a 10-day high, which, like I said, it works. What this allows you to do is sometimes you're going to catch them right before they break through. I mean, it's very seldom that it happens, but you know, you can get a little head start. And in this one, I just used 5-minute volume, 700%, and the change from the close up 1%. So you still have the 10-day high, the 10-day range of being broken, change from close. I did not want to make this as strict with the 20-day moving average in there as well. I kind of wanted to let people take this and kind of customize it if they will, but it's still looking for a 10-day high, has to be up 1%, and it has to be doing some decent volume. So I will also share this one with you as well. And these both can be very good alerts for you to have. And what I'll do is I'll drop this into the chat window. Just call it Master Blaster. It's from Mad Max Thunderdome. And I'll drop the link in there. All right. Go ahead, Jamie.
I was just going to say, you've got to come up with another one now called Bartertown.
That's right. Oh, good. I will. I'll do that.
Yeah.
All right. So, and the same thing goes here. You're going to see a lot of the same alerts coming through this Extreme Master Blaster as you do my Extreme Volume High-Low Pro. The thing about this one is I also break down the 52-week high, like you saw this VIPS. You know, if you saw this early in the morning, you would see it's in the strategy name a 52-week high. And all-time highs. This VTIQ briefly today did hit an all-time high before backing up. So it's kind of neat once you get the color coordination down and you see these blues coming through, darker blues, you know it's going to be an all-time high. Green's going to be a 52-week high. Of course, today, you know, it's not fair today because the market was not very favorable to the upside. There's that JD coming through. Apron had a little run today. Now I think that probably no. And OSG, that was another one that had a nice little pop later on. You could see the volume was there. You can see it breaking out. Obviously, it's a 10-day high. You did have a level over here. Oh, let me show you. A lot of times, you know, when you see these things, guys, and you look over here in the chart, a lot of times these charts can give you an idea where a stock may be going. You know, once it got above this level right here, okay, and if you looked, you know, the next level of resistance would be, you know, kind of way up here. So that's where it eventually went to today. So this one would have been a nice little call that if you were seeing it over here, you may have missed it because you have tons and tons of alerts coming through. And this was a down day in the market. Imagine if this was a very bullish day. I'm telling you, this thing gets moving so fast, you can't even keep up with it. This is why I like to filter out stocks by using, once again, the key elements is volume, breaking out of ranges. I can't tell you how important that is if day traders would trade off the daily chart, they would be so much better day traders. Okay, just VIPS is a prime example today. And I see this over and over again. Once VIP, you know, got above, you know, this level right here, like Jamie was showing, and broke out of that high, you know, it was like a no-brainer. I mean, you got no resistance above. Okay, and you can see the line. Our technology was showing you the next line of resistance, and look where it exactly went to at the close. We have little things we say around here. One of them is, you know, stocks have a destiny sometimes. Okay, when there's no resistance, they will find that next level, and that will be their destiny, and that will be where they go. And strong trade with a lot of conviction, you know, would just keep loading up on this thing all the way probably to that line. So It's very powerful to use when you get these breakouts like this, and look for those levels that where they break out from. And this was a great example today. There you go. Randy points out, like B of A with no downside support today. That is a great example. You can see once it broke through that level, there was really no downside. I'd have to put a weekly on it, or actually maybe even a monthly, and show you. Yep. Follow those. Look, find that support and resistance and trust them. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, it's 100% sure it's going to that level, and sometimes it may not do it in one day. Sometimes it may do it in 2 or 3 days. But I'm telling you, the likelihood of it with this kind of volume behind it, and I'm afraid to put a percentage on you because I don't want to lead you astray, because the next trade won't work. But I will say this, it is so much more likely to, when it has this kind of volume behind it and it breaks out of a level, it's so much more likely to go and test that next upward level than it is to retrace and come back down through, the what is now support. All right, Jamie, I think that's going to just about wrap it up. I will be happy to answer any more questions that you might have. I think this was a great lesson on momentum and how to kind of fine tune and hone in on stocks that that are better quality. Okay, quality over quantity, if you ask me. All right, Joseph has one here. Does a platform matter before support resistance break even if in void? Does the platform, no, I'm sorry, does the pattern matter before support resistance break? Good question. Good question. Yeah, I think it's less likely when you're in the middle of a range like this VIPS going back to yesterday. Yeah, I think as long as you're in a range, Joseph, and that is a great question. Patterns tend to stray from their normal, courses of action. It's when you break out of levels and it's associated with volume, okay? And I know Jamie's probably heard this over and over, as few others have had, but this is a great analogy. If you think about a log floating down a fast-moving river, okay, or just say a quickly moving river, and then think about a log floating down Category 5 rapids. What's most likely to keep that, log powering down the river? Okay, it's the Category 5 rapids. It's less likely to get hung up on debris or rocks or something like that. Well, the same thing can be said about volume. Okay, when you have more volume behind the stock, almost 10 relative volume, 10 times normal volume in this VIPS, the more likely it is to continue in that same direction. So that could be very powerful. But great question there, Joseph. And yes, they tend to stray, like I said, from their patterns as long as they're in a range. All right, you're welcome, Chris. How do I get paper trading account? Susie, all you have to do is subscribe to Trade Ideas, even if you want to do the standard version, and you do get the paper trading account. All you got to do is, once you sign up and log in, go to New, find the Brokerage Plus, and just fire it up, and you can immediately start paper trading. Ted, I don't have time today to explain back testing. I tell you what I'll do. I'll drop well, I don't. You know what? When Scott comes back in, I'll dig up a video for you and drop it into the chat room, chat panel. I'm sorry. So you can pick it up there. Trey says, Trade Ideas paid for itself in the first day I used it. I started in late November. Trey, that's great news. Thank you, buddy, for sharing that. Susie said, I have a brokerage and I'm in Canada. That's fine. That's fine. You can trade wherever you want to. You don't trade on Trade Ideas. You just paper trade on Trade Ideas. Once you go live, if you want to put real money together, you're going to have to do it with your broker. Unless you're with IB, and then you can use our Brokerage Plus interface to trade there. Rilker is here. I helped him on the phone today for Connect with IB. Do the traders to do trades on the chart? We need brokerage, purchase brokerage. No. The only reason you need to trade to pay for Brokerage Plus is if you want to auto trade our AI. Okay, as long as you're just trading your own strategies, you can do that without having to pay the one-time $1,100 lifetime fee. That's only if you want to, like I said, auto trade the Holly. Then you have to belly up and pay the $1,100 fee. Great. All right, great news. Appreciate it. And please use my link there, Rilker, that I sent you. Let's see. So can I use the charts on my, yes, you can use the chart, Susie. Yep, you can use whatever chart you like. Is there a repository of custom scan? Ernest, your best bet, we have about 30 custom scans in channel 4 of our channel bar. Okay, all you have to do is go there and find out what you like, and you save it to your cloud, and you have access to it. And you also have access to all of our scans in our channel bar, our channels. There's some great scans in there as well. Susie, probably at first, you probably don't want to go into the auto trading at first. Okay, when you first come on, you probably want to learn the platform and custom get accustomed to it before you start going into auto trading. And with that said, a lot of good questions today, guys. Thank you so much for your interaction. I'm going to bring Scott in. Thank you, Mike C. You have a good evening. And let's see, one more. Nope, it's just everybody saying thanks. You're welcome, Susie. All right, and hang on, whoever it was, I will drop the back testing video in the chat room for you as Scott is walking us out. I'll try to anyway. Let me pull this up and open up a tab and pull it over here before I get going. All right, Scott, you want to come in and walk us out real quick?
Sure, yeah, just a couple items to address before we close out. We have our daily support webinars now, and they start at 12 Eastern on our YouTube channel. You can get there. The easiest way to get there is just trade-ideas.com/live. That'll take you right to the YouTube page. Bookmark it, set yourself a YouTube alert so that you get that little bell that shows up on your YouTube page when we're live, letting you know. We've also got a new ebook that's written by Dave Mabe. He's our CIO and the guy that created our odds maker and Holly and all kinds of Trade Ideas essentials. You can get that ebook by going to trade-ideas.com/earnings, and it talks about ways that you can use earnings seasons to your advantage. And it includes some cloud links of layouts or strategies in there that you can just grab and insert into your Trade Ideas. Got a podcast. There's a couple of new episodes out that are recent. Go check them out. Probably going to put up a new one this Friday. So just search for Trade Ideas Podcast wherever you listen to them and enjoy. We've got a code new this month, Prime Time. It is case sensitive, so keep that in mind. And it saves 15% off the first month or year of Trade Ideas. You can also use this if you're a standard subscriber to do an upgrade. So write that down, get a subscription or do the upgrade. Also saves off Brokerage Plus too. You can apply it to any of our products. You can find Jamie on Twitter at QuantBot, or Steve Gomez is at Today Trader. We also have at Trade Ideas, of course. And Trade Ideas Pro is the Facebook handle. So like us on there and share what we post with your buddies. info@trade-ideas.com is the best place to send any of your questions. It goes directly into our help desk software and is routed to the appropriate team member to help you out. So we're going to have this recording up later on tonight or tomorrow morning. So stay tuned for an email tomorrow with a link to the playlist. Thank you, Andy and Jamie. Have a good one.
All right.